Over the course of the following few minutes, this video explains the value gained by bringing together two well-proven techniques for defining and measuring operational and commercial targets and their performance. Objectives and Key Results, OKRs. Key Performance Indicators, KPIs. Explain the actions needed to combine OKRs with KPIs. Effective Agile portfolio and team formation. The aim of the objective assessments. The value of creating KPI tolerances. Introduced the activities of a typical QBR cycle. Explained the importance of defining an organizational-wide information model. Briefly explain how blending OKRs with KPIs can be used to create a product backlog prioritization mechanism. OKR framework is a goal-setting tool used by teams and organizations. An objective must be significant, concrete, and clearly defined. For example, landing on the moon. Each objective should be accompanied with 3 to 5 key results. Key results act as measurable success criteria used to track the achievement of that goal. For example, before the end of the decade, consisting of 3 astronauts, beat the other nation. OKRs should be inspirational for the teams or the organization. Defined by leadership and agreed with teams. And as we shall cover shortly, OKRs can be defined centrally and cascaded to multiple teams to ensure consistency across a large organization initiative. OKRs are typically agreed on an annual or triannual basis. Simply put, OKRs define the what. Key performance indicators define a set of values which are used to measure actual achievement over multiple periods. Focuses on what is important to the organization. An indicator can only measure what has happened. Historical trends are used to forecast against agreed goals. KPIs should follow the SMART criteria, defined by leadership and agreed with teams. Assessed on a monthly, quarterly or annual basis with the organization. KPIs allow the team to focus on the how and when. Objectives and key results overlap with other performance management frameworks, sitting somewhere between key performance indicators and performance management tools such as Balanced Scorecard. We'll shortly explain how the combining of objectives and key result and key performance indicators with the House of Quality framework enable Agile organizations to create a comprehensive performance definition, evaluation and measuring life cycle. In this example, leadership have defined 2 clear objectives. Provide an awesome customer experience. Become the mobile device of choice in the market. Simply put, the leaders define the what. Once the organization has defined a number of objectives, it must determine how best to structure its Agile teams to define the right and appropriate key results, which are measurable success criteria used to track the achievement of that goal. In this example, we have defined 2 key results. Self-service transactions per day, total infrastructure savings. 2 Agile teams are formed. The first will be mobilized on the 1st of January 2021. It shall focus on the use cases for the existing customer base. The second Agile team will be mobilized a few months later on the 1st of March 2021. This Agile team will focus on the use cases specific to newly registered customers. Working with a common portfolio product backlog structure, they'll both contribute to reaching the initial key results. Simply put, the Agile teams determine when these key results will be achieved. One of the first tasks completed by Feature Team 1, focusing on existing customer base, is to create an initial draft of their feature roadmap, consisting of the key epic milestones. Here we have identified 2 epics, first to be completed towards the end of May 2021 and the second before the end of June 2022. With a draft feature roadmap defined, their attention then focuses on establishing a series of key performance indicators. These are shown as letters A to F against both key results. These are measurement milestones, which are used by the organization to track progress over the course of the 18 months. And where necessary, changes will be made to scope, milestones, and possible Agile team membership. The environment in which this tracking and assessment takes place is later introduced as the quarterly business performance review cycle. Simply put, the Agile teams determine how these key results will be achieved. By the 1st of March, the second Agile team is mobilized, with a focus on introducing features that will improve the experience of the newly registered customers. Once again, they will produce a draft feature roadmap. possibly consisting of 3 epics. 1. Migrating the customer registration workflow to a cloud-based service. The second, single sign-on capability, and thirdly, enhanced cross-referencing query and results capability. By the end of the first quarter, i.e. March 2021, a combined set of key performance indicators have been defined. These will be presented to the stakeholder team during the portfolio's first quarterly business performance review, where long-term commitment to the combine's feature roadmaps and performance milestones are presented. Here we show how the first objective, provide an awesome customer experience, where NPS is greater than 80%, to be achieved by the end of 2022, consists of 2 key results. The first to be reached by mid-2022, the average self-service transactions to reach 160. The second key result is to make an operational infrastructure saving of £125,000 by the end of 2022. Therefore, the last KPI value is the same as the key result value, 160 days and £125,000 respectively. Furthermore, and this is something that is typically overlooked, the scheduling of the appropriate number of objective assessments, which we are now indicating on the infographic. Here we have Schedule 3 customer surveys, the first scheduled for the end of June 2021, the second scheduled for the end of December 2021, and the final one is scheduled to coincide with the planned step-down of the first Agile team. It is important to recognize the results from these objective assessments will help the organization to determine when the individual Agile teams can step down as planned, or determine whether a third Agile team is needed to course correct. They also help the organization determine whether the 2 changes, transactions reduction and migration to the cloud, have actually made a positive contribution. By combining the data from the key performance indicator measures, which are a tactical assessment of the key result targets, and the findings from the objective assessments, allow the portfolio owners, the Agile team members and their stakeholders and sponsors have a comprehensive and holistic view of performance and improvement actions throughout the entire life cycle, allowing them to learn and adapt as needed. Once the individual Agile teams have added to their product backlogs the appropriate objective assessments, mature Agile teams will agree with their stakeholders and senior sponsors a series of KPI tolerances. KPI tolerances provide guidance to an individual team, empowering them to take any actions they deem necessary without first consulting with their stakeholders and senior sponsors as part of a formal escalation process. As long as the Agile team's performance falls within the agreed tolerances, they're empowered to make the necessary changes to their makeup, priorities and implementation approaches. Should an individual Agile team discover their actual performance falls outside one or more of their agreed KPI tolerances, they must then immediately follow the agreed escalation process. Organizational agility calls for the adoption of a quarterly business performance review cycle, which requires the business cases to become living documents, rather than them being confined to the bottom drawer once they've been approved. The quarterly business performance review cycle occurs every 3 months, within each portfolio. The primary purpose is to assess the variety of KPIs and their progress towards meeting the key results. Regularly reviewing performance in a rigorous manner enables the portfolio community to determine whether any significant changes to the makeup or priority of an individual or number of Agile teams are required because of any internal or external factors. Internal factors such as their ability to meet their feature roadmap milestones, for example, due to staff turnover or skills availability. External factors such as emerging technology or competitive actions, or simply changing customer needs and wants. Each quarterly business performance review is attended by the portfolio community, which consists of stakeholders, senior sponsors, the portfolio managers and associated product owners. An effective and efficient lean quarterly budgeting and business review cycle commences with the individual Agile teams agreeing their planned targets with their portfolio community, on which their feature roadmap is developed. During the following 3 months, the Agile teams will build and deliver any number of features. As previously stated, each quarterly cycle concludes with an inspection and adjustment exercise, which results in the publication of a revised set of targets that will become the focus of the next 3 months. This continuous learning cycle is performed each quarter for the duration of the portfolio schedule. The success of any integrated OKR and KPI framework, to operate at scale, i.e. consisting of 2 or more Agile teams, calls for the development and adoption of an organizational-wide information model. The information model ensures there is a common approach for translating business objectives into individual Agile team activities, so that it can establish a common language for requirements management and establish alignment across multiple Agile teams and portfolios that share a common objective. Furthermore, establishing a common information model will reduce the complexity of financial and resource management systems and reporting tools. The recommended information model presented here incorporates the OKR method, which has gained widespread adoption across Agile organizations. This infographic is a helpful way for teams to establish whether they have sufficiently broken down their requirements into the necessary components, for example epics, features or user stories, so that they can be estimated and implemented within the recommended time frame, for example a quarter, a month or sprint. An integrated OKR and KPI framework grants individual Agile teams with the confidence to prioritize their product backlog on a continuous basis, reassured they're always working to a common and shared set of objectives. As they receive inbound requests from their many sources, for example, the findings from their competitive analysis, suppliers, industry innovators, challenges and targeted users, once the Agile team has successfully identified the features, they can measure the value each feature contributes to the OKRs. Such a transparent value-based prioritization mechanism, which leverages the house of quality technique, helps Agile teams create a product planning matrix, showing how all inbound requests contribute or not to the high-level objectives. During this short video we have explained the value gained by bringing together 2 well-proven techniques for defining and measuring operational and commercial performance. In doing so, we have covered the following topics. Introduced OKRs and KPIs. Explained the actions needed to combine OKRs with KPIs. Effective Agile portfolio and team formation. The aim of an objective assessments. The value of creating KPI tolerances. Introduced the activities of a typical QBR cycle. Explained the importance of defining an organizational-wide information model. Described a product backlog prioritization mechanism. We hope that you have found this introduction helpful. Please like the video to help us promote the sharing of such best practices. For more information, please visit www.monetical.com. Thank you for watching.